is Adaba FM Akure. Welcome on that exciting program you've been waiting for, making those days great. My name is Michael Akintunde, and I have the Director General of Making Those Days Great Movement joining us this morning again, Dr. Lumaro. Good morning, how you doing?
Thank you, Mike. Good morning. I'm fine and happy to be here. Good morning to our people in Ondo State. Thank you, Mike.
Well, today we'll be talking about so many things. Happenings in Ondo State are their Sunshine State. It's so unfortunate. Yes, natural disaster turned into a man-made disaster. Days ago, prior to be precise, residents of Ondo Kingdom, Ondo City, yes, in Ondo State, were shocked. Properties worth millions were destroyed by floods. And that particular incident is now generating controversies everywhere. I know you've been following happenings in our dear states, but it is a natural disaster turning into a human disaster. Now, blames, accusations, and counter-accusations. NIMET also gave warnings before now, but residents of Ondo would say it is not their priority to ensure that they dredge canals. Who is responsible? Who should be responsible? Who should we point accusing fingers to? Is this a time to blame anyone? Some individuals believe Ondo State government not proactive enough, while some say residents should be blamed. Dr. Lumaro.
Thank you, Mike. Who is responsible? I will answer that very directly. The governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, is responsible for that calamity in Ondo town. And I will give, in fact, I heard you said it was a natural disaster. It was not a natural disaster. It was a man-made disaster. Rainfall is a natural phenomenon, but the flooding in Ondo is man-made. It's man-made. And let me explain why it is man-made.
Please go ahead.
NIMET had warned about flooding this year. Apart from NIMET warning, we saw flooding in some part of the north, Borno specifically, and some other northern states. As a result of that, the federal government released 3 billion naira to each state to immediately make sure that they avert flooding in their own state. That was about 4 weeks ago. We came here and we said that money must not disappear in the Bermuda Triangle between Akure and Abuja. That money has disappeared. Ayedatiwa is keeping that money for election. We came here 4 weeks ago and said that money should be used to clear drainages. That money should be used to dredge canals. That money should be used to make sure all the flood-prone areas are protected and defended. At that time, there was no crisis yet. Okay? Now, Ondo did not become flood-prone today. Ondo has always been flood-prone. If I may ask you, Mike, and the people of Ondo Street, how were we able to prevent flooding in Ondo between 2009 and 2016? How was it that no flooding disaster happened? When we had a government that was proactive. The last time I'm coming, Mike, I'm coming. The last time we had a disaster like this in Ondo town was in 2020. The flood in Ondo in 2020 was an eye-opening to the possibility of a massive disaster in Ondo. Who was in government then? APC, this current government. They neglected their responsibility. Now, between 2020 and now, how come the flooding had not happened again until this year? We now know the company that has been in charge of the project to dredge canals, to clear drainage, to prepare for flooding. The company has now come to say corruption, bribery, and demand for kickback made the project impossible for them. That the commissioner for environment, what's his name? The commissioner for environment did not allow the company to be able to actively execute their project because he had collected bribe and kickbacks to the point that the company could not function, could not deliver on the project. That is the allegation. So, and who is the appointer of this commissioner for environment? This thief. Because when we talk about corruption, we are actually talking about stealing. When you take something that is not yours and you convert it to your personal use, you are a thief. So the commissioner for environment has been alleged to have stolen other people's money meant for environmental planning through corruption, bribery, and kickbacks. So the company could not do the job. And now we had the flooding. So the governor is responsible.
Okay, Dr. Lumaro.
Yes.
The Commissioner for Environment in Ondo State, that's Oyene Yoseni.
Thank you.
Responded to that allegation.
What is the response?
I'm sure you got that response. I'm going to read out a few lines to you from that response because I'm aware after that allegation, attention has been drawn to a press statement issued by Dr. Abiola Basharum, the CEO of ZL Global Alliance, undermining the government of Ondo State and the Ministry of Environment's efforts towards averting floods in the state, as well as informing the public about our abysmal performance in our engagement with the state government and the Ministry of Environment. Now, the Ministry of Environment and LGA partnership, they had an MOU with the Ondo State government about 6 years with the responsibility of public waste management and the management of landfill sites.
Mike,
a lot were said.
Mike,
but now
I read that response.
Okay.
He did not respond to the allegation of corruption and bribery. Instead, he was raising counter allegation. That's what he did. Instead of responding to the allegation of kickbacks, bribery, and corruption against himself, he was raising counter allegation. And that is why, Mike, we are using this medium. Thank God this is Adaba. Everybody can listen to us. We are where the governor listens to us here. We are using this medium to call on the governor to immediately institute an independent panel of inquiry into these allegations. Because life has been destroyed, properties, livelihood has been destroyed. We are calling on the governor, we are giving the governor 7 days ultimatum to immediately, urgently institute an independent panel of inquiry into this allegation. If within the next 7 days that is not done, we will petition this government. We will petition that Oyeniyi. Thank God he doesn't have immunity. We will petition him to the EFCC and the ICPC. So we will take legal actions because life has been destroyed, livelihood has been destroyed because somebody want to become rich on the back of the people's commonwealth. So he did not respond to the allegation of bribery and corruption and kickbacks. Rather, he's raising counter allegations. If the governor sweeps this under the carpet, it's an indictment on the governor. We released an article on our media on our media page this morning to say the flooding is an indictment on the governor himself. If this monumental fraud is alleged to have happened under his watch, and since this flood has been flying, this allegation has been flying around, the governor had kept mute. It means that the governor colluded. The governor must be involved. Otherwise, I read the release where the governor was said to have sacked one of his aides because of allegation of corruption, I think, in forestry. Why did he not respond to this one in environment? So if he will not respond to this one, it's because he has colluded. It's because he's complicit. And we are giving the governor 7 days ultimatum to set up an independent panel of inquiry to investigate this allegation of corruptions. You cannot continue to kill the people with your criminal negligence. Mike, something happened in Akure, I think yesterday or thereabout. I read on Punch newspaper. A man lost his mother and 4 children to food poisoning. These people were said to have eaten pap. They got stomach discomfort from after eating the pap. He rushed them promptly to the hospital in Akure. He rushed them. The medical doctor told them to go and be drinking red oil, palm oil. Can you imagine that? That is what our healthcare in Ondo State has been turned to, for a university teaching hospital to tell patients of food poisoning to go and drink palm oil. And eventually the woman died and the 4 children died. There is criminal negligence going on in Ondo State. And we are saying to the people, there is a huge price to pay for putting an incompetent, a clueless governor in office. There is a huge price to pay. That is one of the prices. He has neglected the healthcare delivery in Ondo State because there was no equipment, no facility to respond to food poisoning. The doctor resorted to saying they should go and drink palm oil, and they lost their lives. Ondo State used to be the pride of this country, between 2009 and 2016 when it comes to healthcare. How did we get to this shameless point? How? So, the flood in Ondo is an indictment on Governor Ayedatiwa. He must set up a panel of inquiry. We must investigate the bribery allegation against Oyenenyi or whatever his name is. We must investigate that allegation, and we must find out what that allegation, what bribery and corruption and kickbacks, what role they played in exposing Ondo people, the people of Ondo Town, in exposing them to the carnage that we saw last week.
Okay, Dr. Lumaro, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be talking about the November 16 election in Ondo State. Stay with us. Do not change it down.
Educating the people of Ondo State to take back power and be the author of their destiny, especially as the governorship election approaches. Every Wednesday at 10:10 in the morning on Adaba 88.9 FM. Join the nucleus on Make Ondo State Great. It will be a no-holds-barred interview on development in Ondo State. Make Ondo State great. Wrestling power back to the people.
Okay, welcome back. This is Make Ondo State Great on Adaba 88.9 FM. The Director General of the movement is still very much with us, Dr. Lumaro. We've talked about the disaster in Ondo on Friday. Now let's talk about the upcoming event built for November the 16th. 17 political parties will go into the polls come November 16. Campaign started already. We've had a lot of candidates say their party is the best alternative. I'm surprised. Why are others saying their party's best alternative? On those states, at the moment, the incumbent, of course, will be part of that contest come November 16. But seems voters, eligible voters, are bent on aligning with the highest bidder. Preparations to November 16 elections. Dr. Lumaro, I know you follow politics, and I'm sure you're eager to see a credible and fair election come November 16. What exactly is expected of Ondo electorates?
Thank you, Mike. Ondo electorate has always been resilient. The only problem now is the evil of vote buying. And we are praying that the people will rise tall and defeat this evil in November. You will recall that in 2003, the Ondo electorate rose and changed government from AD to PDP because they were not satisfied. In 2007, the Ondo electorate rose again and changed government. Their election was rigged by the PDP. They stood by the person they elected, Governor Mimiko, for 2 years until he reclaimed his mandate in 2009. In 2016, the Ondo electorate also rose and changed government. So the Ondo electorate is educated, is enlightened, and is active and resilient. But we are calling on them to rise above the evil of vote buying. The only way Governor Aiyedatiwa will win this election is by buying vote. I can say that anywhere. Aiyedatiwa will not win this election if this election is contested on the table, on the altar of performance. Because he has been in office for 1 year, he has been a colossal disaster. People are dying every day because of his criminal negligence. People are dying every day because of corruption in his government.
Dr. Lubaro, I advise you to be civil. We're talking about the incumbent governor of Ondo State.
I am talking about the incumbent governor. It is criminal negligence that you took bribe and you refuse to dredge canal, to dredge drainages, and you kill people and you destroy their livelihood.
Dr. Lumaro, it is an allegation.
It is an allegation. Then he should come and wash his hands. Either it is an allegation or not, people died in Ondo, life and livelihood were destroyed. That is criminal. It is criminal negligence.
Dr. Lumaro, the governor was not alleged.
His government was alleged. Who is leading the government? Who is in charge of the government? Who is in charge of the government? Who has the mandate? He has the mandate. He is responsible. He appointed that commissioner. He must have fired the commissioner. Mike, let me ask you one question. Between Friday and now, what has the governor done? Have you seen any relief materials? Has he talked about investigation of the allegations? What has the governor done? Instead of doing that, the governor invited NEMA. He invited NEMA so that he can ask for more money. The 3 billion naira that he received last month for flood defense, the 3 billion naira, what did we do with the 3 billion naira? Between January and June, there was 611.6 million naira ecological fund. What did he do with it? When I say criminal negligence, I mean it. Mike, if people who died, you go and talk to people who lost their life and livelihood in Ondo and tell them it was not criminal, to have exposed them to that vulnerability, to have exposed them. And so we are talking to our people in Ondo State. We must rise above the evil of vote buying. If we can defeat vote buying, the next 4 years will be better. If we allow vote buying to defeat us in November, we are going to face this clueless, this irresponsible, this incompetent government for the next 4 years. If we do not rise against vote buying, the 3,000...
Dr. Lumaro, how did you arrive at... incompetence and clueless? How did you arrive at that?
What clue has the governor shown? What clue of leadership has the governor shown? Everywhere you talk, we are talking about environment, disaster. I mentioned health the other time, disaster. You go to education, disaster. So what clue has this government given about leadership?
Are you saying nothing is working in Ondo State?
Nothing is working in Ondo State. People can attest to that.
In your opinion, I've seen individuals who have been commending the good work of...
Mike, those are the political hallelujah boys who from the crumbs that they are getting from the table of Aiyedatiwa will sell Ondo State to slavery for the next 4 years. Those are political hallelujah boys. Those are the people who are asking for crumbs or who are receiving crumbs from his table. And they must know they are doing this at the detriment of the generality of the population. They must know it. This government has done nothing in education. Our children resumed school last month. Not a single notebook or pen did this government buy for any student, any pupil in Ondo State. What exactly? Where exactly? I saw. Can you imagine? Your government says he's launching massive road repair, and they were carrying wheelbarrow and shovel to fix road in Ondo State. How did we get here? Wheelbarrow. People were using wheelbarrow and shovel to fix our road. After all, this government led by Ayedatiwa is the richest government in Ondo State in the history of Ondo State. The monthly allocation that this governor has been collecting, no governor had gone close to it. This is the richest government in Ondo State, and yet we are using wheelbarrow and shovel to fill road. Yet people are dying in hospital. Medical doctors are telling people who are suffering from food poisoning to go and drink red oil, palm oil in a teaching hospital, in a university teaching hospital. The highest healthcare facility in the state. A medical doctor will ask somebody, a patient suffering from food poisoning, to go and drink palm oil. That is what Ayedatiwa has turned our healthcare delivery into. The one striving healthcare delivery that people came across the country, across Africa to come and learn, we are now telling patients to go and drink palm oil to cure food poisoning. So,
Dr. Lumaro, back to the governorship election, November 16.
Yeah.
You talked about vote buying, why voters, eligible voters, should resist that.
Yeah.
Now, this morning on our morning show, which is in the politics, we talked about vote buying also.
Yeah.
Our guests and callers talked about political parties.
Yeah.
Because as it is, vote buying has come to stay in our system in Nigeria, and all the political parties are involved.
Yeah. Mike. Mike, all political parties are not involved. We witnessed election, in Edo State. 2 parties bought vote. Only 2 parties. And I can assure you, in Ondo election next month, you will see that APC will be the vote buyer. I can assure you that, because the other political party will not have access to public fund, they will not have the money to buy vote. Let's wait and see what will happen in November. You will see that APC will be the vote buyer. No other political party will have that war chest to come and buy vote the way APC will do. And APC will be the vote buyer because the 3 billion that should have prevented the flood in Ondo will be spent to buy vote. The money that should be spent in our education will be spent to buy vote. The money that should have been spent to provide facility for healthcare delivery and prevent the death. Can you imagine a man losing his mother and his 4 children at a time because of criminal negligence in government? So, people must rise. Today it is the story of Adeola, who lost his mother and children. Tomorrow you don't know who it will be. Tomorrow. So if we think we can just take 5,000, take 10,000, it doesn't concern me. You could be the victim. You could be the next victim. So
okay, Dr. Lumaro, let's talk about the local government elections. Since there is no clear, of course, we know that come January there will be a local government election in Ondo State. But residents, even within the APC, are saying it is a must for us to have an elective.
Yes,
in our local government.
we need local government election, Mike, but certain issues must be addressed. You can see that ODEC has become quiet since they released the timetable. They have become quiet. We are not hearing anything. Election is a process. The processes leading to election, Dr. Aremo has gone into hiding. We will get to January now, he will come and say nobody responded. Is this how INEC does election? You see INEC holding regular stakeholders meeting, engaging with the stakeholders, telling them the next thing to do when planning the election. Dr. Aremo had went into hiding. He has gone into hiding. So we are watching them, number one. Then number two, The issue of SCDAs must also be addressed because ODEC must not conduct election to those unconstitutional SCDAs. The court has ruled if Ayedatiwa is sincere about us having SCDA, a month is enough for Ayedatiwa to have returned to the state assembly and follow the right procedure to recreate those SCDAs. So if he was genuinely interested in running SCDAs, but because he saw the existing one, the unconstitutional one, he saw them as available machinery for his campaign, he's just using them. So the issue of SCDAs has to be addressed. As we stand today in Ondo State, we have 18 local government, QED, no more, no less, no SCDA. No SCDA. So Dr. Aleman should come out of his hole because he has been hiding. He should come out, engage with the stakeholders, engage with the political parties, engage with the electorate, and make sure that we are prepared, that we plan for the local government election in January. Because from this month, October, the allocation for local government will stop coming. And that does not concern Ayedatiwa, it does not concern anybody in his government. All they are busy doing is erecting billboard, singing and dancing funny songs up and down in the state, while people are dying from their criminal negligence and colossal incompetence in government.
Dr. Lumaro, destination point this morning on the show. I really appreciate you for coming. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, our people in Ondo State. Thank you.
Well, that's the size of today's edition of the program. I've been talking to the Director General, Make Ondo State Great Movement. Yes, Dr. Lumaro. I appreciate you once again. My name is Michael Akitule. Bye now.